In 2009, Richard Phillips, a seasoned merchant mariner, prepares to assume command of the MV Maersk Alabama, a container ship tasked with transporting cargo and crew from the port of Salalah in Oman to Mombasa, Kenya. As he leaves his home with his wife, their conversation revolves around their children, unaware of the impending danger awaiting him. Meanwhile, in Ale, Somalia, a group of pirates led by Abdulwali Muse plans their next hijacking operation under the coercion of Somali gangsters. Selecting Adan Bilal, Nur Naji, and Walid Elmi as his crew, Muse equips them with weapons and sets out on their journey, aided by another boat filled with pirates and a monitor utilizing satellite signals to locate potential targets. Observing that most ships are clustered together except for the MV Maersk Alabama, the pirates track its communication frequency, intercepting calls between Richard and the U.S. Navy headquarters to ascertain the ship's route. After a day of pursuit, they close in on their target. Aware of the prevalent pirate activity in the region, Richard conducts online research and initiates a pirate drill to prepare his crew. When two boats approach the ship on radar, Richard suspects piracy and calls the UK Maritime Trade for assistance, despite the operator's initial skepticism. As the boats draw closer, Richard observes armed individuals on board and devises a plan. Aware that the pirates are monitoring communications, he pretends to call a warship for air support, causing one boat to retreat. However, Muse's boat persists. Richard instructs the engine room crew to reduce speed and maneuver the ship erratically, creating waves that disable the pirate boat's engine. With the threat neutralized, the MV Maersk Alabama safely continues its journey. As Richard, Muse, and Bilal proceed to the room, Mike seizes the opportunity to turn off the engine room lights. Meanwhile, Shane, still in the dining room, observes their entry and hides. Richard intentionally draws attention to Bilal's bare feet, prompting Shane to devise a plan to incapacitate him. Shane covertly instructs the crew in the engine room to scatter broken glass near the entrance as a trap for Bilal. When Bilal enters and steps on the glass, he cries out in pain. Despite the injury, they press forward into the darkened room. The sudden darkness infuriates Muse, who demands answers from Richard. Richard feigns ignorance, claiming he has been with them the whole time. Muse instructs Richard to tend to Bilal's injuries on the upper deck while he searches for the crew. Once Richard and Bilal leave, the crew seizes the opportunity to overpower Muse, taking him hostage. They compel Muse to contact his comrades on deck and demand Richard's release in exchange for his own freedom. Richard offers Muse a lifeboat and $30,000 to depart, to which Muse agrees. However, as Richard is escorted between two pirates, Muse signals for Richard to be pushed overboard. They swiftly operate the lifeboat and flee with Richard, leaving the crew in shock. The U.S. Navy is promptly notified, and drones are deployed to monitor the lifeboat's movements. Realizing the lifeboat is heading towards Somalia, where intervention is challenging, the Navy plans a rescue operation. The pirates, seeking ransom for Richard's release, begin to argue and run low on their supply of cod. As tensions escalate, one pirate, Naji, threatens Richard but is restrained by Muse. The USS Bainbridge appears, blinding the pirates with spotlights as they approach the lifeboat. On board the Bainbridge, a man named Nemo, fluent in Somali, establishes communication with the pirates, offering them provisions and initiating negotiations while emphasizing the importance of Richard's well-being. Muse demands a $10 million ransom for Richard's release and agrees to meet with the Navy for negotiations. Nemo and a team of soldiers approach the lifeboat, insisting on proof of Richard's safety before proceeding. Richard covertly urges the Navy to inform his family of his condition and subtly provides his seat number as a coded message to aid the Navy's tactical planning. When Muse resists, Naji, agitated, fires a shot into the air, prompting Muse to reassure the Bainbridge of Richard's safety and allow him to speak to them over the phone. Muse then announces his intention to contact the Navy upon reaching Somalia. As additional naval vessels arrive, Richard seizes an opportunity to escape, feigning a need to urinate. He pushes Bilal into the water and jumps in himself, attempting to swim towards the Bainbridge. However, the darkness obscures their identities, leading to uncertainty among the Navy crew. Muse jumps into the water to retrieve Richard, while Naji threatens him with a pistol. Richard, fearing for his life, returns to the lifeboat. Naji, enraged, assaults Richard, but Muse intervenes, preventing further harm. As a Navy helicopter hovers overhead, demanding surrender, Muse uses Richard as a shield and fires at the aircraft. The Bainbridge commander attempts to defuse the situation by revealing detailed information about the pirates and their mother ship, unsettling Muse and his crew. As the conversation continues, Navy SEALs position themselves on the helicopter deck of the Bainbridge, armed with sniper rifles, aiming at the pirates inside the lifeboat, waiting for a clear shot. A skiff is dispatched to the lifeboat to attach a tow rope and transport Muse to the Bainbridge for negotiations. They also affix a listening device to the exterior of the lifeboat. During this operation, a bag containing a yellow shirt is tossed to Richard, along with advice to wear it for warmth and remain in his seat. Despite efforts, the SEAL snipers struggle to confirm the location of each pirate. Richard, sensing the gravity of the situation, begins writing a final note to his family. However, Najee, now the group's leader, confiscates the paper, sparking a physical altercation in which Richard is subdued and restrained. As tensions escalate, Najee realizes the perilous predicament they're in and prepares to execute Richard. Observing this, personnel aboard the Bainbridge relay the situation to the SEAL team commander. Richard, resigned to his fate, expresses love and apologies to his wife. When the pirates are finally in clear sight, the SEAL team commander halts the tow, causing a disturbance that exposes Najee, allowing the snipers to eliminate all 3 pirates swiftly. Amidst the chaos, Muse is apprehended and placed under arrest. He seeks confirmation of his friend's fate, and upon learning the truth, Richard is rescued and receives medical attention. In a state of shock, Richard seeks reassurance about his family's knowledge of his safety, and he is comforted with the news that they are aware and he will soon be able to contact them. Reunited with his loved ones, Richard resumes his duties at sea a year later, while Muse faces piracy charges and a lengthy prison sentence.